Hi everyone, and thanks for clicking on this video. As you can see, I got some Himi Gouache. I've had Himi Gouache before. I got it back in 2020 when everyone was getting it, and then it's all dried up. I've reactivated it a couple times, but it takes so long, and I just didn't want to do it again. So I looked at the sets now and I realized that they make these twin cups so you can have twice the colors in the same amount of space, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I had to order the purple one because purple is my favorite color, and it came with these 3 brushes, which I thought was pretty cool. And I like the new little brush compartment. My old one didn't have that either. So now we look at all the colors. And I had to organize them into the order that I wanted them to be. And then I had to start the process of opening them all. And for anyone who's used this type of gouache, you know that sometimes they're really freaking hard to get the plastic off. Plus you end up getting paint on your hands and it makes a mess, but that is life, I guess. But it does look very pretty when you get all the colors in the case. And I feel like you're getting a lot of paint actually for the price. So and then until it dries, the consistency of the paint is awesome, and you can do some really nice things. Yeah, look at my fingers, how much paint they got on them. But you can make some really nice paintings, almost like you're using acrylic. So we are going to paint a picture in my Talon's art creation sketchbook. And I am getting my protector page just so my pages don't rub on each other while I am painting. And I'm trying hard not to get any other colors in my paint, because if you just put your paintbrush in there to get the paint and then you go a different color, you can mix the colors, get all mixed and gross. So I'm trying not to do that this time, but eventually I'm sure it will happen. So what I am painting is a scene from an anime, actually. Did you know that they just released an anime of Anne of Green Gables? And if you've watched my previous videos, you know I'm a little bit obsessed with Anne of Green Gables right now. So when I figured out they were doing an anime, I don't like anime much, but my husband does. He watches it all the time. And when I found out they were doing this anime, I was like, hey, I'll watch anime with you, but it has to be this show. And he was like, okay, cool. So it came out on April 5th. It's streaming on Crunchyroll, which is something he subscribes to. So you got to watch it. It's not dubbed in English yet, so I pretty much had to read the show, but supposedly they'll be fixing that soon. But anyway, the scenes are very pretty. And it kind of looks like the backgrounds look like they were painted. They have a painterly look. So when we're watching the show, sometimes I take pictures with my phone of certain scenes because I want to paint them later. And this was the first one that I decided to do. And it is just a nice scene of the house, Green Gables, and the fence and some flowers in front of it. And I just thought it was pretty, so here we are. I know they did an anime of Anne of Green Gables in the 70s too, which I have not watched that one. And so this show is just a remake of that show, I believe. Because apparently Japan really loves Anne of Green Gables. Which, so do I, so. I understand. So in this picture there are some really pretty bushes along the fence line, and they have some bright pink flowers in them that I will do later. And so I use the Himi Gouache for most of the blocking in part. And eventually I switched over to some paint markers because I also got the new Ohuhu paint markers. Oh my gosh, talking. The ones that they're brush markers, but they also have the metal ball in them so you can shake them. And I really like them. They feel juicier a little bit than the Artex ones because I also have those. Although my set is a couple years old, so I'm actually surprised they're even still working. But they are. They're just starting to get drier because they're old. These are the acrylic markers I was just talking about. There is 24 of them, and they come in that nice little carrying case, which I also thought was really cool. And they went on nicely on top of the gouache. And then later on I also got out some colored pencils and put them on top. And the colored pencils go on top of the acrylic markers and on top of the gouache really well. They do stick to the gouache better than the acrylic markers, but you can still make the acrylic markers work. But these acrylic markers the opaqueness is strong. I liked it. They can layer really well on top of each other. Here's where I got out the colored pencils just to add some more details. And because I very much love colored pencils. So, if you like Anne of Green Gables and you watch anime, check out the new anime. It's called Anne Shirley. And I have been enjoying it so far. It's a little strange how they drew Matthew, I think. They made him like super big, and that's just not... I mean, he's tall, but he's not like a super huge big guy. At least not how I think of him. And they drew Marilla pretty good. And Rachel Lynde, she's drawn as pretty much as I picture her. Her eyes are kind of weird, but that's just the style. But like I said, the colored pencils went on really nicely over the gouache. So gouache and colored pencils together are a very good combination. That is a major difference I noticed when I switched from cheaper colored pencils, budget brands, to the more expensive Derwent and Carandache ones that I've been using, is layering them on top of color that's already put down. The budget ones don't want to make much of a mark when you do that. They're just more transparent, it seems like. And these ones, like when you layer on top of gouache or Tombow marker, they go on so much better. It's almost kind of like you're painting but with a pencil, and I just really like that and have noticed a big difference. And here I'm putting in some sun rays, light sun flare right here in the corner, and I did that. That is the Holbein Soft White. Holbein has two white colored pencils, and this one is called Soft White, and it layers on top of color better than any other white colored pencil, even better than the Derwent Drawing Chinese White, which I thought was the best one until I used this. So if you're in search of a really good white colored pencil, it's the Holbein Soft White. All right, that's it. There's my picture. I think it turned out great. Thank you for watching, and I will see everyone next time.